Well, San Marcos is my hometown. I was born and raised here. My family goes back several generations, so I'm a little vested when it comes to my importance in this town. I live a quarter of a mile away from the river, 3 blocks. I live 2 blocks away from downtown Hopkins Street. I live a block and a half away from 35. I'm kind of involved in all the interaction that happens here. I see all the transitions. Being here my whole life, I have seen what the town used to be, what we deal with now, and I know what we can become. I've done a great job, in my opinion, when it comes to being on council. I've been effective because of my ability to compromise and collaborate with people who would have never been on the same page. I've been more effective on council just myself for pushing environmental protections, neighborhood protections, business opportunities than a lot of other individual members on council. And I will go ahead and take credit because, yeah, I'll shine for those, but I've also got a very collaborative council that I can work with. So that's about why I'm successful in council, and because of my success in council and moving the city forward, I want to continue my job. I think I have done amazing strides just in the 2 years I've been here with building trust, with moving the city forward. I am tired of being in this town and the leaders having their heads in the grass. We're acting like ostriches and not moving forward. Times are changing, times are going to continue to change, but we need to be ahead of the game. And I feel that we have not been responsible enough. And I'm from San Marcos again, and this is my home. Things that change affect me, affect my family. And I think that we have done great work. I know I have many more things to do, and I'm going to continue that work. I know I'll be successful as your next councilman member when I get reelected, but this is why. Because I'm trusted, because my heart is for the city, and I don't really care what my legacy is. All I care about is 5 or 6 generations from now, have jobs, have security, have homes, and want to continue raising their families, because San Marcos, it's my favorite place in the entire world, and I will be darned if I'm going to let it go down the hole. Well, first off, I'm not a business owner, so I'm not going to attempt to sit there. I know exactly what they're going through. All I can do is imagine, but I do talk to my friends who are business owners, my family members who are business owners, the things that I've learned on council for the past couple of years, and just research. And the truth is, a lot of it is common sense. So what I see as obstacles just here locally is, of course, your global economic instability. The fact that you have to deal with economic changes every day, your operationals cost, and then unfortunately the permitting process for the city of San Marcos is just a pain. As far as globally, I can't secure that, I can't fix that, but what I can do is combat that. And I will continue to inform my colleagues of why it is so important to diversify the business growth in this town. I need to ensure that I have as many different businesses within our city limits as possible. Stability and diversity will last us much longer than us playing the whirlwind and going for what sounds good. And I want to ensure that all of my residents in our town have the options of diverse employment. It is so important that they have so many options, because at the end of the day, over 60% of our residents have a college degree or a GED equivalent. There need to be more options for us out there. I'm one of them that was lucky enough to have to drive to Austin to get a job, but I can't stand that any longer here. When we're looking at everyday operations, the city of San Marcos needs to continue providing and fighting for grants that we get from the federal government and for the state. Last year alone, I walked to 66 businesses door to door throughout the city of San Marcos to promote something called the Minority Stabilization Grant. Out of those 66, 40 of our mom and pop shops were able to get some kind of funding from that. That's extraordinary. Now, a lot of them just paid the bills to break even for rent and things like that. We also had some that fixed little things inside their business that would help promote themselves to be more successful. But the heartbreaking part was many of them were just improving their equipment or the buildings they're in just to meet the code standards and the permit standards. That's ridiculous. We're putting barriers on people who barely make it, who are just trying to provide jobs and opportunity for the city to be successful. Those are things we have to do. And that all affects the permit process. That is something that we have to go back to the drawing board and find out where we're lacking and how we are hurting individuals whose livelihood depends on the ordinances and the laws that we make as a city. We need to go back to the drawing board and actually involve the stakeholders whose livelihood depends. People who've had businesses for 20 some odd years. They know how this works. Just like when we look at projections when it comes to growth, it's the same thing. Business owners know what's coming. Developers know what's coming. Realtors know what's coming, and it is irresponsible for the city to not listen to them. Those of us who are in the city, elected officials, and those of us who work in the city are not business owners. All we can do is imagine, but we need the stakeholders involved. These are the challenges, and I know the city, if we start opening it up to important stakeholders and those who make a difference, we can keep moving forward, and that's what we have to do. Well, with the creation of the Economic and Small Business Development Department, we've been able to actually contact businesses and work on long-standing issues that we've had. We've also incorporated Main Street into this department, which has been a game changer. We have had this department over the last couple of months go door to door to downtown businesses and actually communicate with them and open true dialogue. That's a step and a stride we haven't had in decades. Now that we have that, we can actually focus on their needs. Again, like a broken record, need to obtain as many federal grants and state grants as possible for these businesses, not just to keep the doors open, but to help them out with marquees, businesses, tables. We need to show that the city of San Marcos has their back. Permit process. Again, streamlining it and making it fair is the only thing we can do that's going to help push businesses to come forward. They want to be here, and it's not just to start a business, they want to relocate, but they get just so, they're discouraged before they even try in here. But of course, we want to introduce ourselves to new businesses. I want to see people coming from California, New York. I want them to put businesses here, but if we don't have skilled workforce, we're no good. We have the people, we have the university, we have the city, but the city should continue to work with ACC to build workforce here. We do a great job with the skilled workforce. We have the library, and over the past year, we've created the HVAC department, and that has been strides of graduation. We've had dozens of graduates, not only those that stay in the city to contribute to your business, but those that have taken the initiative to be entrepreneurs. They are starting jobs. They are just building San Marcos to where we want it to. Those are a couple of little steps that the City Council should keep on the forefront of our minds and realize those little small details, those little small steps of collaboration are huge strides for us to go. I am a member of the Workforce Housing Committee, and I can assure you that every conversation we have, every meeting we have, we are focused on true affordable housing. The main problem I see here, and it's not just with getting grants for affordable housing through HUD, but it's grants distributed, period, through the federal government. We are part of something called the Austin Metropolitan Statistical Area. That hurts us because we're lumped in regionally with Austin. How that damages us is when the government looks at us and says, hey, we need to distribute funds evenly, whether it's grants or HUD. They look at Austin and say, you're doing fine. We can give it to somebody like San Antonio, Abilene, other places around the state. What's not fair is the average income for the family of four annually for the city of San Marcos is $53,000. They're going to lump a sum with the city that makes $133,000 for a family of four annually. No matter how you slice it, it's not fair for us here. We've been behind the times because we refuse to fight for ourselves here. I will continue to lobby when I go to DC, as I have for the past year, to convince my elected officials on the federal level to change that. That is the true way for us to get out of being stuck where we are and being housed in with somebody else. We also need to go ahead and diversify our housing. There's no way around it. We need to be promoting innovative and diverse development. I want these places to go out of town here because we really have no land locally, but when they're putting areas out of 123, go crazy. Put multifamily, put apartment complexes, do things that make sense, but also put retail. I have learned over the last several years with working with my colleagues, traveling in the country, that people want to work, play, eat, and sleep close to each other. They want to walk to their business, they want to walk home, they want to bike ride, and they deserve that. And with the city of San Marcos trying to be innovative and trying to be progressive, we should open the doors to that. And at the same time, they can set a standard, like we do for the EPA environmental protections. They can set a standard for how neighborhoods are put into town. At the same time, while we're getting innovative and allowing these developers to go crazy and set a standard, I need to protect the established neighborhoods. And those are neighborhoods that are 65 years plus. With that, the city of San Marcos should encourage and help fund organizations like Mission Able and Operation Triage. These are organizations that go into our barrios, established neighborhoods, and they help repair homes to ensure that generational wealth continues for these families. These families have spent 50, 60 years owning a third an acre of land. They deserve just as much protection as the new neighborhoods coming out on 123 or somewhere else. That is how we can continue keeping generational wealth and homes affordable. But then also, you know what, we need those grants still. We need money, money, money. And if I have more jobs, I have more people. Supply and demand is a real thing. I don't want us to get behind on the supply, when the demand will get increased. It'll help us keep the prices down. I don't want people to come to our town and not have homes. I want apartment complexes where they make sense. And to be quite honest with you, I get flack for it, but the students deserve to live next to campus. We can always work on the we can always work on renters' rights and how they do their not enrollment, but I'm sorry, with their leases. We can always work on that, but they need homes. They need a place to stay. And the population downtown that works are students. They need to be able to walk back and forth. Again, little things that make the most sense. I am the pain in the butt that was the co-author of the single-use container ban. Okay. So I did that because I live in Rio Vista, and I have for the past 43 years. That was a neighborhood park. Growing up, you had people that would show up from all around town, swim in the river, do tubing, have picnics. It really was a localized place for community for Rio Vista Park. Through the decades, I have seen it deteriorate, not because of the residents, but because people come from out of town. Something had to be done. We saw the effects of COVID with the fencing, and we saw the environment come back to almost perfection. The otters, the wild rice. Our residents have spent thousands of dollars a month to clean up this park for decades. It's about time we have it back. So the single-use container ban was a way for us to weed out the bads who weren't following our rules, but allowed us to also put penalties for those who are bad actors. But it was the first step in protecting our river. That's what I'm champion of. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw out there Buc-ee's. We needed another building, we needed another company that was 24/7 for those individuals. Again, over 60% of our residents don't have a college degree. I need somewhere that I can go in case times get bad. I need a job that I can go at. People were against the outlet malls when they first came up, not realizing how important it was to have that diversity and economic growth. And we're happy now that we have them. Okay? And come on, guys, HEB broke ground. Kind of happy about that. But those are things that I'm very proud of. And again, I will continue to promote affordable housing and protect my established neighborhoods. Again, this is my hometown. Born and raised here, generations go back. When my family wasn't migrant workers and when they were the age of 18, they had to come back into town to do something. My family built the roads that we drive on. My family laid the foundation for most of the buildings that are in Texas State. I know what it's like to need, and I know what it's like to give. I fight for the character that is San Marcos, and it's not Texas State, and it's not the river. Those are inanimate objects. The character are the people. The character of the fact that people that have lived here our whole lives will go above and beyond to help those with nothing. I fight to preserve the character, the reason why I've stayed, the reason why those leave and come back, and the reason why most of you have come and stayed here. That is the most important part for me. I want to ensure that my Bobcats, my Rattlers, my Bears, and my Panthers continue to call this their hometown. I have lived through what our town was. I lived through what it is now as a policymaker. But I am building a foundation for a successful tomorrow of San Marcos, not just for you and I and our kids, but for generations to come. They need to have quality of life that is beyond belief for our state. I ask for your vote November 4th. I'm Matthew Mendoza, but above and beyond, you need to know that I'm a man of action. I can sit here and boost all the boards I'm on and say I'm an ambassador for this, and I've gone to get certifications for that, but you will find me Friday nights at the Rattler game. You will find me at the quinceañeras and the benefit plate dinners on a Saturday and Sunday. But you will also find me deep water, in mud, at Rio Vista Park every Monday picking up trash. Not because these are photo opportunities, not because I can use this for re-election, but the fact is this is my hometown. And I should lead by example. I wish people would see this. I want to run for office again. I'm running for office again. I want to continue this job because I think I'm doing a great job at it. People trust me, and they deserve to have trust in government.